I'm the CEO of Unikrn. We're a Seattle-based, well, kind of Seattle-based. We Seattle-founded esports company. We're an esports betting company. How many of you have heard about us? Wow, look at that. That is amazing. I mean, you know, to think that in 2014, you know, we started this company and now most of the people in the room know who we are. That's actually a really good thing. And we've done a pretty incredible job of building our brand and getting into a heavily regulated industry, which has been super challenging. And I'll talk to you a little bit about that, and then we'll go into you know, sort of the crypto world. So you know, you know about Unikrn. We're a venture-backed company, so we're traditionally backed by some pretty awesome investors. You know, people like Elizabeth Murdoch and Ashton Kutcher and Guy Oseary, Mark Cuban, Sherry Redstone. We've over the years we've developed a brand and a fan base in esports. We came out as a fan-first company with the mission of heightening the experience for people who watch or play esports. And we want to heighten the experience in the most, you know, compelling ways possible. And one of those ways is through regulated gambling. So yes, betting on video games is actually a big deal. And you know, if you've heard about esports, I'll talk to you a little bit about that. You can see that the potential of this space is actually pretty large. And we've established a number of partnerships over the last number of years. You know, we have a partnership with the Kings, with MGM, with a whole bunch of like larger companies and players in the space and people who want to get into the esports space. And we're also built on blockchain, and I'll talk to you about that journey as well and what that means for us. So, you know, esports is happening now. I'm sure you've all heard of it, given that we're from Seattle, one of the best places that originated esports through Valve. Valve is a real hero in this space. They've basically created some of the best games that are highly competitive. And there's an event happening now called the TI, or the International, which the prize pool is the largest it's ever been. It's $25 million in cash. And that actually is crowdfunded. So the people who play Dota are the ones who are funding this prize pool. That kind of gives you an idea of how insane this space is. This is like a 3-day event, and at the end of the event, you know, the winner wins the bulk of that money. And Unikrn, of course, will have the most comprehensive odds on this event. You know, this is what we do. We watch these games, we play these games, but we also know how to create odds and live odds using data and analyzing that data and then presenting that data in meaningful ways that can be sold to large betting operators or being operated by ourselves, being able to take bets. So we actually are involved in a number of different areas. We started off, as I said, as a fan-first company, and what that means is we didn't start off by saying, let's start taking bets and let's become a betting company. We really wanted to start by becoming an esports platform. So a destination for people who love esports to come look at our site. We created content like ESPN would. We have the best written content on esports. We're involved in tournament operations, so we run tournaments online as well as through casinos like the MGM Grand. Every week we run mini tournaments in the MGM. And that was also part of our strategy of building relationships with casinos, because we knew one day that the federal laws for online gambling would be lifted. And then at the same time, we're involved in team ownership. We have a team, they're called BIG, and this is kind of a view of them. They're the most popular esports team in Germany, actually, and they're one of the most popular CSGO teams in the world.
Seeing all the people, they were cheering for us, they were calling our names, and it was one of the best feelings for sure in my life. If you see it in a realistic way, it is way too hard to go to the final even, and now we are here, and tomorrow we have the last game, and I think it will be a good one. We need to take it now for the German fans, for everyone. We will give everything we have for Germany, for all our fans, for big, and Germany will go crazy tomorrow.
Yeah, so if you thought you were watching a World Cup game, that was actually a CSGO game. And what was amazing about that is our jerseys sold out. We had no idea that they'd sell that many jerseys in the stadium, but there was like 20,000 people there, and there wasn't enough jerseys to go around. And everybody was wearing a Unikrn jersey, which is super cool. Oops, so let me just go to the next slide. Yeah, so you know, we are basically using blockchain for a couple of reasons. You heard Michael talk about CoinMe and some of the challenges that they face with banking and things like that, and that's 100% absolutely right. You know, dealing with in a space that's in a highly regulated industry like ours, the gambling industry, and then having to deal with the banking industry is challenging. So one of the things that we had a problem with was we were anticipating getting a license in Malta that would allow us to expand across Europe, and expanding across Europe meant having to deal with multiple banks in multiple jurisdictions with multiple currencies, being able to trade on a betting platform. And that was challenging, so we put out, you know, we would have to go to banks and get interviewed and deal with 200 banks and go through all this due diligence. So we put out a call to our investors and we said, hey, you know, we got a challenge. We need to find a bank that's willing to bank us in Europe for our betting business. Because at the time, we were just selling data to existing betting operators. But now we're going to become a betting company. What do we need to do that? And within like 2 seconds, I get an email from Mark Cuban saying, you guys need to be on blockchain. And this was back in early 2016. He said, you really need to think about blockchain as it's really going to disrupt commerce in general. And it could really optimize your processes when it comes to KYC and AML. So we started to look at it, and the reality is you know, blockchain is the best technology for our business. Given that customers in our space, like we are regulated by responsible gambling. Customers need to see a full receipt of their history, betting history. They need to know how much they're betting, whether they're winning or losing, things like that. And at the same time, KYC and AML is much easier to track on blockchain than it is through fiat, believe it or not, because we built a platform that allows us to track wallets, attach them to users. We know where their wallet is, we know who they are, and we lock those wallets to their existing account on the Unikrn platform, and they are the custodians of their private key. So they actually unlock the wallets on our platform for their tokens. So it was a pretty neat thing for us to think about doing. And already at the time, in 2015, we had already created a coin called the Unicoin. So we created the Unicoin because we wanted to give customers around the world access to our platform in unregulated markets, like the US, like China, places like where betting online wasn't legal. We created the Unicoin, the original one, as a non-transferable token that could not be sold or bought. It had no value, and it was only earned on the platform, and then people could play on the platform, and it was a way for us to gauge new markets so that eventually we could get a license and then start to do fiat betting. But we had no idea that the two would intersect. So they did, you know, they intersected, and we started to create Unicoin Gold. And we did Unicoin Gold last year. We sold about 140 million Unicoins, mostly to customers. And here's where the regulations started to, you know, become challenging. So our coin, without a doubt, is a coin that's being used on our platform. And it will continue to be used on our platform. And we're in the final throes of an audit to get a license that will allow us to take bets across 19 countries with crypto, which is amazing because we'll be the only company on earth that's able to allow live betting on blockchain with crypto. And so some of the challenges we had to solve there was two big things we needed to solve. One is the transaction time on blockchain. We had to solve the challenge that it takes anywhere from 30 seconds to 30 minutes to do one transaction on blockchain. So we did. We created our own blockchain. We built a platform that supports real live betting using blockchain like a private-public kind of blockchain system. It supports 9,000 transactions per second. It has full KYC, full AML built in. It's all ready to go. The second challenge is accessibility. So again, when Michael was talking about, that tokens are designed to make it easier for people, it's not. I mean, it's a total nightmare because, you come to our platform, how do you get Unicoin Gold to bet on the platform? Well, you have to go to Coinbase, you have to buy Bitcoin, you then have to take that Bitcoin and go to Bittrex, one of the best exchanges on earth, by the way, which is located in Bellevue. and then you have to go from Bittrex to Unikrn, and then come to Unikrn and start using those tokens. I mean, it's a complete customer disaster. So we are developing an API right now that allows customers to come to the website, swipe a credit card, buy their coins off the market, and it doesn't involve us being a money transmitter or a money services business. And so these are the two things that we solved, and the three obstacles that are happening in this space are lack of regulatory clarity. Really hurts a company like ours we're being super innovative in this space, and we're developing technologies that I know are going to be foundational to the future of commerce and regulated betting for sure, and other areas as well. So having regulatory uncertainty breeds, all sorts of speculation and wild, things that happen out there, which is why I love Malta, because in Malta, they're actually creating a blockchain island where you have regulatory certainty as a company to go in and a framework where you can work within to innovate. Because regulations should be there, they should be clear, they should be there to protect consumers. They shouldn't be there to stifle innovation. And the lack of regulation sucks, just as much as unclarity around regulation sucks. Because people are now saying we take traditional laws and we apply them to blockchain. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. You can't do that, especially in a company like ours where we take our business very seriously. Second thing is access to banking. Having to call 200 banks is unacceptable. So, we need to solve the access to banking. Banks need to embrace blockchain, and there are banks that are going to do it. And the last thing is making it easy for customers. And this is the project that we've been working on lately. It's called Palladium. And Palladium is a joint venture with Bittrex, and it's located in Malta. And essentially, it's a bank, and it's actually the first regulated, I will call it a initial security token offering. And it's regulated under European EU's prospectus directive. So it's the first regulated coin that'll come out that'll be a security token. And so it's going to be a bank, a crypto bank that will support crypto to fiat transactions and an exchange. And the exchange is going to support complete security token exchanges. So in the future, you think about the NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange. If you list your company on the NASDAQ, you trade on the NASDAQ between the hours of whatever and whatever the NASDAQ is, right? Well, imagine a world where you're trading on a blockchain exchange, and it's a security exchange, and there's other exchanges on the platform that also support the security tokens around the world. You're now trading 24/7 on an exchange with a security that's backed by shares in a company. It's a pretty interesting future, and that's sort of what the Palladium project is all about. And the reason we're getting behind it is because the technology we built supports a lot of the pieces that we're building here, but also it needs to happen in order to forward innovation in the blockchain space. So, we're doing a lot of innovation with blockchain. We have a wagering platform, we have a gaming platform where people can earn tokens, they can bet with tokens, they can use them in raffles or jackpots for in-game items like skins. I don't know how many of your kids play Fortnite. Well, how many of you play Fortnite? Okay, great. So I play a ton of Fortnite, and we actually put odds on all the major Fortnite events that are happening out there as well. And it's super popular right now. I mean, look, I'm in my 40s, and I'm a bit of an anomaly because I play video games every day. But like in 5 years, there's going to be lots of people like me, and video games will continue to proliferate and become bigger and bigger. And the amount of fans in that stadium is nothing compared to the amount of fans that watch esports worldwide. There's literally hundreds of millions of fans. And this is sort of my last point about this, is the intersection between in blockchain with cryptocurrency and esports is probably the largest potential customer segment out of any customer segment, because our customers actually are familiar with crypto, they're familiar with blockchain, they're familiar with trading Bitcoin and Ethereum because they're younger and they're tech savvy and they actually like this stuff. Millennials like this stuff. And so I think we're onto something really big, and I think we're going to see it come to fruition this year. We will be live with crypto betting by September with the features that I mentioned in 19 countries around the world. I think that's really going to put our company in a different space altogether. So So yeah, so you know we're using blockchain to enhance gaming and esports across the board. You know, we're working on improving viewer experiences, engaging users in real time. You know, we're powering wagering with unprecedented speed and security. You know, other betting operators are not even close to doing this yet. And we're getting a lot of calls about our technology and how it might be licensed to them as well. And then we're just empowering live events and things like that. So we're doing a lot of really interesting things. You know, as I said, we're born in Seattle, and we are now located in multiple places around the world. We have our large office is in Berlin. That's our main office. We have an office in Sydney, Croatia, Poland, Las Vegas, New York, and Seattle. So any questions? I got 5 minutes. Yes. You can ask me anything, by the way. It's fine.
I'm just curious, how does this compare to stock trading that Twitch
So Twitch, I think, developed something where they have a free coin point system or something that you can use. I don't really know much about it. You know, the way we work is, the way Unikrn works is we use Twitch as a viewing window. We also use YouTube. YouTube gaming, wherever a stream comes from, we have that viewing window, and we also produce live odds in real time. So as you're watching the game, you can actually see the odds change based on the betting action that's coming in. It's like watching a football game. You know, you can watch a football game and you can say, is Russell Wilson going to drop the ball, you know, at this play? You can do that with our platform. So, you know, eventually I imagine the way sports betting is going in the US, and the way our technology works, you'll probably see Unikrn sort of expand our horizons. But right now, we're an esports only company. We're in the future, we might be an esports first company, but we'll always be esports, you know, known for esports. So, other questions? Yes.
I'm guessing y'all operate as the casino and not like Augur, where they peer-to-peer.
Yeah. Have you tried Augur, by the way? I mean, look, it's so bad. I mean, it literally takes like an hour to download. It's a completely broken experience. It looks like it's developed by engineers. I mean, it is terrible. And then not only engineers, I should say, no designers. Like there's no creative people involved in the thinking on how this thing was created. I guarantee you there wasn't one woman who actually was involved in designing this thing, because it is a complete mess. Yeah, there you go. So. Exactly, and the worst thing about fully decentralized product like that is, you know, the notion that you should offer a betting product on a fully decentralized platform like Augur is ridiculous, because now they're having, you know, betting markets on potential assassinations, for example. You know, like that's so dangerous, and that is exactly why this space needs regulation. Like the idea that you can put a betting market on somebody getting assassinated it's like putting a you know, it's like putting a bounty on someone's head. It's crazy, and it makes this space look bad. It makes it look like, you know, you think about Bitfinex and you think about all the other crap that goes on. That's the kind of shit that takes over the headlines in the blockchain space, and it makes us look bad, and it needs to stop. So, you know, I think when you look at all the coins that are out there, there's like over 2,000 coins. And in the last year, obviously there was a lot of exuberance and people were buying any particular coin or whatever. And now the market's down 95%, right? But Bitcoin and Ethereum are still kind of holding water. With that said, we're buried underneath a pile of crap. And over time, what's going to happen is the market's going to clean itself up. People are going to wake up and start making they're still going to start looking at usage and platforms that are actually driving usage. And that's going to change, and that's where the cream is going to rise to the top, and that's where this market gets stronger, and the next bull market will be bigger than the last one. But in any case...
Round of applause for that statement.
Sure, thank you.
What this industry as a whole needs, so I appreciate that comment.
Yeah, absolutely. And on the Augur thing, you know, just going back to that, I don't believe in full decentralization. I just don't. I think I think the people who created Augur can say that it's decentralized, but I think they're liable for anything that happens in the future. So that's the whole point of it. I really think some things can be decentralized to a point, but not completely. I mean, not even Bitcoin is fully decentralized in many ways. So Ethereum certainly isn't. So I don't believe in it. Any others? Great, thank you.